Have you ever felt like that everything is just not right? Like everything in your life is just working against you. Like tug of war. Like you're pulling against gravity. Even your cat is giving you. There are days like, work is piling up and you have no time to waste, but you just don't have the initiative to get to it. And over time it evolves into this situation where you don't even know where to start. You feel lazy, you feel motiveless, you feel brain fog in your daily life as pressure secretly adds up on you. Basically the story of my life. There's this book, Leadership, that I read back in college, and the author was the then mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani. He was mayor when 9/11 happened. Now you can think of New York City in the 80s, 90s as, probably Gotham City in the Batman. I'm sorry, New Yorkers. But crime was rampant, and nobody really knew what to do. No matter how much money the city hall spent, no matter what the NYPD did, nothing seemed to be able to curb that continuously rising trend until they resorted to the so-called broken windows theory. Now, the broken windows theory was presented in 1982 by sociologists James Wilson and George Keeling. It explains how a petty crime could swiftly expand into widespread crime. If you leave a broken window unattended in an abandoned building, soon it'll get more shattered windows, and then graffiti, then muggings, then car thefts. Because if no one cared to care when there was one broken window, then why would anyone care if it had 2, 3, or 4 more? And that was basically New York City's ideology of fighting crime. They started from the subway, cleaning up graffiti, catching fare dodgers, all these seemingly minor things. And at the very beginning, as you can probably imagine, many citizens were very skeptical about it. But time proved the theory right, because before long, all sorts of subway crimes from fare dodging to armed robberies all dropped rapidly. Turns out at the end of the day, you don't need Batman. All you need to do is fix some windows. And I think it's the same with our daily lives. Sometimes we just leave something not in its best condition unattended. And then we tend to get sloppier in the other things in the peripheral. And it kind of adds up from there to the extent that it just landslides. Until there's no going back, until we're just in a total mess, sitting there, feeling helpless and not knowing what to do. Trust me, it happens to me all the time. I was on the phone with a friend some time ago, friend/client. So at first we were talking about business, and then somehow we got on to talking about some daily trivia, where we eventually winded up talking about cleaning up. Yes, I don't know how we got there, but we were talking about cleaning up and how much it is a pain in the butt. Because when you've accumulated so much stuff over the course of time in your apartment, you really don't know where to start cleaning up. It's frustrating. And my friend, over the phone, she tells me about this method she's read in a book somewhere and that she's applied in her cleanup routine now. And that was, instead of trying to get everything in place and tidied up all at once, divide your space into several blocks and tackle one block at a time. Clean up the kitchen this weekend. Next weekend, try to get your drawers all organized. And next weekend, reorganize the bookshelves. It's like what we say in Chinese, 各个击破. You take this huge task and break it down into several small ones, and then you tackle each at a time. So I've been using this method to clean up my place for a while already, and I gotta say, it works. I love how it doesn't give you the pressure of having to have everything done all at once. Instead, you see this progress gradually unfolding through time. What can I say? It gets things done. It's satisfying. But it wasn't until recently that I got to read about the psychology behind this. According to Sean Akers' book, The Happiness Advantage, which is about the research on positive psychology, with everything oversimplified, we all have 2 components in the brain that are fighting for dominance all the time. The emotional system, the limbic region, and then you have the rational cognitive system, which is the prefrontal cortex. While both exist for crucial reasons, of course, sometimes they can get a little bit too dominant in the wrong situation. And this is highly dependent on our genetic inheritance and how we were raised, especially under stress. When it hits a critical point, the emotional brain tends to take over. And so we freak out, we get angry, we become depressed, frustrated, being unable to think rationally. In brief, we feel out of control. So this is where the cleanup and block psychology comes in. It's called the Zorro circle. In brief, a way to regain control. So the naming of it actually comes from the movie The Mask of Zorro, where Anthony Hopkins is training the new young Zorro, Antonio Banderas, as Alejandro. And Alejandro is this drunk and undisciplined dude, and all he thinks of is revenge, revenge, revenge. So Anthony Hopkins draws a circle on the ground and tells him,
"This is called a training circle, the master's wheel. This circle will be your world, your whole life. Till I tell you otherwise, there is nothing outside of it."
The young Zorro has no command over his emotions, no real faith in his ability to avenge his brother. He is mentally and physically out of control, and so the old Zorro, what he does is, he makes him live and train in this small circle on the ground, something he can control. And day by day, as he progresses, the circle enlarges and enlarges, until he is ready and capable of facing the vast outer world, and thus the Zorro Circle. When things spin out of control and our stresses and workloads mount up so fast that it's faster than our ability to keep up, then it's easier to regain a sense of control when we concentrate our efforts on small, manageable goals. And one by one, as you build up your confidence along the way, you expand your territory of control. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call it from now, territory of control. I coined that. Quoting Sean Aker, feeling that we are in control, that we are masters of our own fate at work and home is one of the strongest drivers of both well-being and performance. This also echoes with the timeless classic personal development book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where the author Stephen Covey mentions the circle of concern versus the circle of influence. Now, we all have a wide range of things that we're concerned about, varying from health, personal issues, finances, career, to climate change, world peace, etc. It's very, very, very different among us. And within that circle of concern, there's this other circle, a circle of the things that we have some extent of control, the circle of influence. Proactive people tend to focus more of their time and effort in the things they can do something about. They try to expand their circle of influence, while on the contrary, reactive people tend to dwell on the problems, issues within their circle of concern, and as a result, their circle of influence shrinks. To be happy and successful, it's crucial to expand your circle of influence. And to get it started, you can begin with drawing your own Zorro circle and enlarge it little by little. For the past year, I've changed up my daily work routine quite a lot. I used to spend hours a day working on editing or writing scripts, focusing on one single task throughout the entire day. And while concentration on a single task throughout a long stretch of time is usually necessary, however, there is a drawback that you might want to consider balancing out. Whenever I was working on prolonged editing projects or other things alike, I would notably feel this stress inside me mounting up. It was this sense that I was getting nowhere in this endless journey. You're like 5 hours in and it's only 10% finished. Any progress seemed trivial compared to the size of the goal. And the more I applied myself, the more I felt tired and helpless. And so I started switching up my work routine because I realized I was feeling this way because I wasn't getting any sense of accomplishment. I needed a little something to make me feel good to keep moving those mountains in front of me. So I mixed up my daily work with a variety of different tasks. Some are very time-consuming, such as content searching, script writing. Others, not so much, like research reading, replying email, paying the bills at the 7-Eleven downstairs, etc. Not all of which are necessarily important, but necessary. And so every task that I accomplish, big or small, instills a positive feedback. And literally in the brain, a load of dopamine is released. That makes you feel a sense of satisfaction and also motivates you to complete more tasks. So whenever you're caught up in piles of work, before you freak out, here's what you do. You draw your own Zorro circle, and you take care of whatever's in that. And little by little, you expand that circle. And that's how you get things done. That's how you move mountains. Last, I'd love to share this video, which is not mine, but I bet many of you have seen it before. It's a US Navy 4-star admiral's graduation speech to the graduates of the University of Texas. Here's a little part of it.
If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made. So if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed.
No matter what's lying in front of you, start from something little. Start from something you can control. And from there, expand your territory and change your life and the life of others, and if lucky, the world.